Madam Clerk, I believe that we have quorum. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Um, Please read the Chamber Emergency Evacuation Plan announcement and public speaker guidelines.
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwell outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and into the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Public speaker guidelines. Individuals wishing to speak during public hearings and the public comment period are generally allowed 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before the committee are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the committee chair. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time, and further disciplinary action is necessary, which can include barring from attendance of future meetings of the committee for a period of 6 months. Members of the public who registered in advance to speak virtually will be called at the appropriate time, either during the public comment period or during the public hearing for the legislation on which they signed up to address. And Madam Chair, all members of the committee are in attendance today with the exception of Vice Chair Breton, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As always, do we have anyone here for public comment?
Public comment is now open. Is there anyone present who wishes to address this committee regarding items not on today's agenda? Madam Chair, seeing none and no one signed up to speak virtually before the 10 a.m. deadline, the public comment period is now closed and back to the committee.
All right, thank you. First on the docket, we have a presentation from our Trauma Healing Response Network. Ms. Wright, would you please come on up and share that with us?
Lorraine Wright, she is the Violence Prevention Program Manager at the Richmond Henrico Health District. Very, very familiar with her work and excited for her to share it with you today. Coming up, Lorraine.
Thank you, Amy. Good afternoon, Council. Thank you for welcoming me. You said the clicker. Thank you. So let's just get into it. Wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the Trauma Healing Response Network. Again, my name is Lorraine Wright. I'm the Violence Prevention Program Manager for the Richmond and Henrico Health Districts, and we engage impacted families in the immediate aftermath of a firearm injury or death. So what is the Trauma Healing Response Network? For those of you who may be new to the council or just don't know or new to this committee, we were created in 2021 through a partnership with Richmond City Council, Richmond and Henrico Health Districts, which is who we represent, and the Richmond Behavioral Health Foundation, which is our fiscal sponsor. Again, we engage immediate families, impacted families in the aftermath of a firearm injury or death through an evidence-based, trauma-informed lens, but most importantly, a healing-centered way. Right now, in this current year, we're convening 53 community partners that provide resources in several areas: housing, food access, mental health support, and education, so we can mitigate violence across all community spaces. We also provide direct connection to community partners, short-term case management, and long-term resource referrals. So some may be wondering how this framework integrates with the gun violence prevention and intervention framework. And I don't want to say that they're one and the same, but I think that we hit on 3 critical parts of this model: the crisis intervention and wraparound services, intensive case management, as well as credible messengers. That's such an important part of our model because we feel that folks who have been through something and have that real life lived experience are really important to shifting the dynamic of how folks engage with each other in the streets. I really love this particular image. It talks about violent crime in Richmond and the trend. And I want to show and I want to illustrate that we're not just talking about homicides, but we're talking about violent crime in Richmond. This just represents 2024, and this is data, again, courtesy of Richmond Police Department, but it shows aggravated assaults down, of course, homicides down, rapes and robberies down. And I wanted to use this particular graphic because we're not just focused on firearm injuries and deaths, because at that point, it's too late. Then we're talking about consoling families. We're much more interested in the prevention side and how do we have proactive sort of programming and interventions that really meet the need before we get to that point. So let's talk about how Trauma Healing Response Network helped impact those outcomes in this fiscal year 2025, of course, with your help and the funding that we received from City Council. More than 3,400 community wellness checks. We reached more than 8,000, close to 9,000 residents through mentoring, outreach, support groups, and events. We dispersed more than $36,000 directly in emergency funds directly to impacted families and communities impacted by firearm violence. Oftentimes, not only do we issue emergency relief funds, but also we'll have pop-up events in schools and communities right after a violent incident, again, just to address the immediate need. We provided emergency housing to 16 families, including 4 permanent relocations. Oftentimes, when there is an incident of firearm injury or death, folks don't even know what they need at the time. And so helping them just get away to an undisclosed location just to be able to think and process what the next steps are really critical. We've engaged 37 high-risk cases to prevent retaliation and retaliation-related violence. We've implemented a community-based trauma-informed relationship building curriculum with the Foundation for Family and Community Healing that we're actually launching with the Rotary Group this Saturday. We strengthened partnerships with mental health providers. This year, with, again, your increased investment last year, we were able to bring on the Richmond Association of Black Social Workers, which has been a really critical part of helping us navigate this mental health space. We also deepened our collaboration with RPS and students, including new efforts with MLK, Huguenot. We were just in Huguenot during Youth Violence Awareness Week. TJ right before that, and we actually have media programs in TJ. Armstrong High School, we were just invited to their Principals Award Luncheon, where we acknowledged 44 scholars with perfect straight A's, 4.0s, and we make sure that we're building on our RPS connection, right? And I love that RPS has site-based management, which allows us to get a little bit creative. This graphic you've seen before, actually, in our last presentation last year, but it's talking about firearm injuries and the demographic disparities, right? And this is particularly speaking to emergency room visits. And so what we recognized in the year before last and coming into last year in this current funding cycle, we said, listen, the medical response is something that's missing. And we wanted to make sure that we had an integrated approach that included VCU. And therein lies our incident response protocol that in February of 2025, we really sort of solidified with RPD, with VCU, and of course with Richmond and Henrico Health Districts, because we wanted to make sure we had an integrated approach. It's okay that we're meeting folks where they are, but sometimes we need to have that RPD information in order for us to support the victims assistance programs, which is what we're doing this year actually, in meeting with the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office and making sure we have strong ties in that process. We just actually helped with a double homicide yesterday, but we worked with the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office again just yesterday to provide housing for someone who was impacted. And again, and this is what I talked about, but again, providing meaningful support through partnerships. This is something that, again, we recognized as a need last year that we weren't able to do because of our limited funding. And this year, through this partnership, we were able to start a Stop the Bleed campaign, which is where we're teaching everyday community members how to, in the event that someone has been injured, either by a firearm, it could be by knife or stabbing, but if they're bleeding, we have a very simplified sort of training that community members are receiving now to help them with that. And we actually we went to Oliver Hill a few weeks ago, and we saw a young man from MLK demonstrate on his friend that he was like, I know how to do Stop the Bleed. And he went ahead and demonstrated and wanted us to record it. So it's real people, real changes, and we're meeting needs in real time. This is how the incident response flow process goes, and it shows, again, how we are using this integrated approach. When a community incident occurs, the Richmond community mediators are dispatched to the scene. And the reason for that is when we had our initial conversations with RPD, there was a lot of conversation that, listen, this information is really confidential. We want to make sure we're not compromising any investigations or impeding investigations. And so they had information that couldn't be shared with us at that time. Makes perfect sense. So we just said we can still have an integrated approach while they're doing what they do and still informing us in the process. So what we've created is almost this handoff, right? And so we've got the Richmond community mediators, and we have VCU, we have all of us pretty much working together. And as we're handing off, we're also coming back to collaborate and say, how do we help this family? How do we support in this particular case? And so we're still working on it, but we got approval from RPD in February of 2025.
And Lorraine, first of all, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your work. And I think you know how much this program means to
Yeah.
us as council and to me personally. This was, Jackie and I came together after a very, 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 very tragic incident at Belt Atlantic with the first iteration of this, what we called the Hill Family Healing
Yeah.
Network. And so to see this evolve into what it is now is just, it's really cool. So I really, really appreciate you all.
I appreciate that, Councilwoman Lynch, because we're thoughtful in our approach and we're responsive. So we're
Yeah.
not just responding to this immediate need of this impact, but we're looking at the landscape and seeing how we can address the need ongoing.
It's truly, truly beautiful. So I know that we have a hard stop at 3, so I apologize, and we're almost at time. So I wanted to just pause here because I know I know Councilmember Jones has seen this presentation, is really familiar with the program, and is one of our experts on gun violence prevention. And so just wanted to stop here and see if she had any questions, and then if I may, we'll probably, unless there, and I'll give you a couple more seconds to wrap us up. But any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for the work that you all are doing. As Councilmember Lynch said, we understand what it requires to do the work that you do. And I think given the start of where you started to where you are now, you can tell the intentionality, you can see the connective tissues kind of slowly coming together. I think the one thing that I would ask, maybe for the next presentation, or maybe you can just get it to us, I'd love to know all of the numbers that you presented. I'd love to know where you are working with those families, what parts of the city, because I think when we're thinking from a citywide preventative intervention, all those things, how we can deploy resources and we can look at who's in what areas doing what work.
That's
so
exactly
I
right.
think you all are doing a great job. I'm happy to support this as a council member and look forward to us just continuing to build it out and bring all the folks in so that it's not so many people doing one thing and we can have a straight view. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
And then the only other item that I think would be of interest and one area of opportunity for us to partner with RHHA is oftentimes when we're working these cases, it is really, really hard to get a VAWA transfer. So when we are, doing like the emergency placement, all of that funding has to be sourced directly from our directly from the the Trauma Healing Response Network
Yeah.
Fund.
Yeah.
And in truth, those moves, those transitions when the family members are in danger should be facilitated, paid for by the either the Victim Settlement Fund and or the VAWA transfer process.
Yeah.
I think that's a very it's a good area for us to dig in and challenge our HHA partners on. So
Yeah. We're working on them. We're working on them. And so I also want to invite everyone to our last piece pull-up of the season. So we'll be in Creighton Court next Friday from 1 to 4. We were just out in Wickham Court last Thursday and had an amazing time engaging with residents. So we're out here. We appreciate you all. And I know that you have the presentation, so if my time is up, again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thanks.
it's not because we don't love you. It's just we got tight shift to run today. All right. Next up, we have our DCAO, Amy Popovich. You want to give us our brief DCAO update, and then we'll roll into papers.
Sure. Good afternoon, Chair Lynch, Councilmember Jones. I'll be brief here. So 2 quick updates. I've informed both of you all, through email, but about our critical water delivery. Wanted to hit the highlights of 140,000 water bottles dispensed in one day. Several of those were delivered to 42 different partners. Lots of other partners supported us through that work. For example, our Office of Immigrant and Refugee Engagement partnered with Waymakers, who then delivered the water to some of our mobile home communities. I think just wanted to emphasize how the way we were able to do that is by focusing on our priority populations. So our offices of children and family, for example, senior and those with disabilities, reached out to their networks, and then we were very geographically intentioned. So our community ambassadors were in Gilpin and Hillside during that time. Second update is we did send out a press release this week about our cooling centers. We're intentionally using the name Cooling Center to encourage our community to use our free and accessible services when it's hot outside. So the list includes pools, it includes libraries, 2 of our social services buildings. We welcome people to come get a cold drink of water and a place to sit. And then it also does include our information about our inclement weather shelters as well. We'll make sure that your offices get that information to continue to make sure our community is aware. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been awesome having you here, and really look forward to continuing to watch you in action and see the awesome work that you're doing. All right, next up, we've got our papers for consideration. Madam Clerk.
The first paper for consideration is item 1, ordinance 2025-121, to amend ordinance number 2024-099, adopted May 13th, 2024, from the general fund budget and made appropriations by transferring $96,250 from the literacy lab, appropriating $66,250, transfer funds to the reserve children's fund, appropriating $30,000 of transfer funds to the Challenge Discovery Projects, Inc., all for the purpose of providing funds for emergent needs related to children. That paper is before the committee.
Are there members of the administration here to present the paper or to speak to the paper?
Afternoon, Eva Colin. I'm a senior policy advisor with the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services, and I lead the Office of Children and Families. I'm here to speak about this paper. And so, big picture, Literacy Lab was awarded funds in our FY25 budget as a non-departmental. And then after the start of the fiscal year, we were notified that they were ceasing operations in Virginia. And so we've reappropriated the funds to the Reserve for Children's Fund line that has that specific carve out the specificity of the investment areas so that we are able to make those additional grant contracts administratively for organizations in pursuit of that work. The second part of this is the $30,000 to Challenge Discovery projects. This, just to be super clear, is not for new programming. Ultimately, in past fiscal year, there was one of our partner basically submitted their invoice a little bit late, and so we submitted for payment at a time during the transition from one fiscal year to the next. And as consequence of that, ultimately an untimely payment processed. And so we basically we're in the red for $30,000 in that line. And so this will correct that in our books. This is not going to be new money for new programs going to Challenge Discovery projects. It's just correcting our own balance in our accounts.
Madam Clerk, anybody here to speak in opposition to the paper?
Is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak in opposition to this paper? Is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak in support of this paper? Madam Chair, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed and back to the committee.
Members?
Motion to move to, you have
So move. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Madam Chair, is that to recommendation?
recommend to council
Okay.
for approval.
Okay, the committee is voting on the motion to forward item 1, ordinance 2025-121 to council with a recommendation to approve. Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Chair Lynch?
Aye.
That motion has been approved.
Madam Clerk, please proceed on to the next ordinance.
To authorize the CAO on behalf of the city to execute a first amendment to opioid funds agreement between the city and city sheriff for the purpose of continuing the medication-assisted treatment pilot program. That paper is before the committee.
Madam Clerk, are there members from the Sheriff's Office or any other representatives who want to speak to the paper?
Hey, good afternoon, Council. Jason Alley. I'm a policy advisor for our opioid crisis response. So this is just a carry forward of the funds that haven't been spent in this fiscal year. And we're in pretty constant contact with the Sheriff's Department to make sure that when they're ready for the next tranche of money, that we can go ahead and get that out to them. But right now, it's just the carry forward. So.
Thank you. Sheriff Irving, I see you in the back. Anything you want to? There you are. Good work. Good work with this program. It's good stuff. Madam Clerk, any persons present for public comment?
Is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak in opposition to this paper? Is there anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak in support of this paper? Madam Chair, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed and back to the committee.
Members?
Madam Chair, motion to forward to council for approval.
Second, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
The committee is voting on the motion to forward item 2, ordinance 2025-124 to council with a recommendation to approve. Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Chair Lynch?
Aye.
That motion has been approved.
Madam
next-
Clerk,
okay.
can we actually take up item 4? We'll table item 3 because I believe we have some work to do on that one. So for sake of time, just take up 4 and then any other papers that we've, that's the only one we have. Never mind. We have an amendment to make. Madam Clerk, strike that. Just proceed on with number 3.
Okay. The paper for consideration is item 4, ordinance 2025-139 to authorize the CAO on behalf of the city to execute an Up Together grant contract between the city and FII National for the purpose of implementing the Richmond Resilience Initiative Guaranteed Income Program. That paper is before the committee.
Good afternoon, Councilwoman Lynch, Councilwoman Jones. My name is Derek Wadley, and I'm the Program and Operations Supervisor, as well as the Program Manager for the Richmond Resilience Initiative through the Office of Community Wealth Building. And basically here to just give you all an update as to where we are with our 4th cohort, our 4th iteration of RRI. The 4th cohort launched on May the 28th. Or 26th, excuse me, Memorial Day. And currently we have 880 applicants who've actually qualified for the project. Of course, during our last meeting with this body, there were some questions about our administrative costs. So what we've done is, of course, we're working with Up Together, and Up Together is our administrator, of course, for the program. They will be our payer. And of course, there's always an administrative cost, but because we've had 2 iterations with them and it was very successful, they've basically allowed for us to be able to pay the administrative costs, which is $50,000, but they're going to give us $60,000 back. So, of course, what that means is there won't be any overhead or any administrative costs as it relates to this particular iteration, and we'll have $10,000 in order to really be able to work with and provide some of the administrative services that we'd like to provide for our participants during this next iteration. Of course, we have, or it'll be the same process or the same concept as related to our last 3 iterations, $500 a month for 24 months. And of course, course, this will take place, of course, and hopefully in July. We're triaging, of course, the applications and making for certain that, we have a good process. That said, we've settled on a lottery this time around because of the broad reaching marketing space in which we've, it filtered this through. So we got several applications, and we want to make for certain that the process is fair. So there will be a lottery this time around, and our expectation is to work with VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University's Research Institute on Social Equity, Dr. Douglas Glenn. She's actually over that department, and what she'll help us to do is to monitor and to oversee that particular process so we can ensure integrity and we can ensure that it's a fair process. Of course, the application period will run through June the 30th. So after June the 30th, that's when we'll start pulling the applications. What I currently have going on with my engagement specialists or my case managers, they're pulling all the information from the current applications in terms of where the individuals are coming from in the council districts. So hopefully during the next iteration or the next few months, we'll be able to produce that information so you all have a general idea as for the level of participation in each one of the districts. That said, of course, I have Mr. Brian Beals. He's our senior, or he's our policy advisor and research individual in our department now. And if you got any questions, definitely ready to field them at this particular point.
First, we're going to do a public hearing. Is any members of the public here to speak for or against this paper?
Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this paper? Is there anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak in support of this paper? Madam Chair, seeing none, regarding this item is now closed. The public hearing is now closed and back to the committee.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Awesome. I just had a question, I guess, for clarity.
Okay.
You said the cohort started May 24th?
26th.
26th.
Mhm.
But that you have, did you say 84 applicants?
We have 880.
800.
880.
So the cohort started, but you haven't actually selected the people yet?
No, we haven't. We're going through the application process, and the application process will run through June the 30th. So like I said, we're receiving the applications and we're working through the applications because we actually want to know where they're coming from. I think that that's a good measurable or metric that we want to present to council. We want to make certain definitely because, of course, next year we will not have, the opportunity to run another cohort, but we want to make for certain that everybody's had an opportunity to participate, and we want to report that data out to council so you'll have an idea as to who all is really interested in what it is that we're doing in that space.
Yeah. So when you say the cohort started, though, I mean, what
Yes.
is that how long does it run first?
It will run for 2 years at $500 a month. So we actually launched the application process. So the whole project has begun at that particular point. It will run once we select the individuals in terms of the 24 months, once that lottery process is complete. So that said, we have actually began, the actual moving forward of the project, and it started on the 26th, the 26th of May. So beyond that, we're saying about 2 years and a month as relates to the duration of the program.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, my bad. Cohort recruitment, I apologize.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Cohort recruitment.
Yeah. So once you identify and select the amount of families or whoever will be in this
Right.
cohort, that's when the work actually starts? Or
That's when they actually start receiving the funds.
the funds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
And for this, we've had a grant contract in place with Up Together.
Excuse me.
You mentioned that Up Together is the
Administrator.
administrator. So we've had a grant contract with Up Together, correct? Is that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So are we authorizing a new grant contract? I'm just trying to get a handle on what this is doing here and for what amount.
No, ma'am, we're not. No, it's not a new grant contract.
Okay.
We connected with them through our first 2 cohorts. So of course we've gone back to them because we need someone to administer. That said, when we approached them this time around, because of the nature of the relationship, they decided that they would work in that space because they are helping those municipalities who may very well be having some difficulties in terms of, securing the funding, but just in support to make for certain that this continues to, to carry forward. So that was what they introduced to us as a part of a new program that they have. We pay, of course, the amount as it relates to the administrative costs. They gave us the cost back, and of course, like I said, an extra $10,000.
Okay, so this is a new contract for them to administer the program?
It
But
is.
they're already administering it.
They administered the program the first two cohorts. They're going to administer again for us. During our third cohort, of course, the Help Me Help You Foundation, they were the ones who administered the process. So yeah,
Okay, so we're bringing them back on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And
Mhm.
and it's for the amount that we voted on during the budget process.
Exactly.
All right, that's
So, like I said, that
important.
question that you all, communicated to us during the last time we were in front of this body, in terms of administrative costs, we found a way to be able to eliminate the administrative cost altogether. So that's very positive in terms of going forward with this type of a concept. But it also too speaks volumes as it relates to the relationship that we were able to establish with them with the first two cohorts.
That's great. Yeah, I've been doing this for 16 years. I've never heard of a nonprofit giving back
Wow.
money.
We had never heard it either. So, we were really excited about it. But having worked in that space in collaboration with the Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, they've helped a lot of pilots. So in coming back to them, they were definitely wanting to offer that, as well as, because of course, at this particular point, the project is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily under scrutiny, but there aren't as many iterations going on around the country. So that said, they're trying to make for certain that they do what they're doing to help to support the effort. They have done it, like I said, several times, and there were several iterations for other municipalities. So in having worked with them in earnest, they decided that they would, of course, extend that offer to us.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much for that clarity. Members?
Madam Clerk, motion to move forward to council with approval.
So move, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
The committee is voting on a motion to forward item 4, ordinance 2025-139 to council with a recommendation to approve. Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Chair Lynch?
Aye.
That motion has been approved.
All
Thank you.
right, next to our final paper. Yep.
The paper for consideration, item 3, resolution 2025-R023, to request the CAO to establish a work group in collaboration with Richmond Public Schools to develop a funding formula allocating general funds revenues annually for school operating expenses and a plan for implementation in the fiscal year 2027 general fund budget. That paper is before the committee.
Good afternoon, Megan Brown, Director of Budget and Strategic Planning. I don't think I have to go into the paper quite as much as this is co-sponsored with City Council and the administration. The only thing I want to bring to your attention is the administration would respectfully ask to do an amendment to the paper just to change the date that a recommendation would come forward, just based on the timing of when we got the paper introduced. So we're recommending at least an amendment to change the date from August 30th to October 15th. And if you guys would oblige, then we'll be more than happy. But since this is a resolution, we should be able to introduce the amendment on the 23rd and also vote on the 23rd, so it shouldn't extend the adoption of the paper.
This, Madam Clerk, or this is more of a procedural question. Do we have the amendment ready to go?
We don't have it ready, but Will and I said that we would work with, in conjunction with the city attorney's office to have it ready for introduction on the 23rd.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
Thank
Are there members of the public who wish to speak for or against this paper?
Is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak in opposition to this paper? Is there anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak in support of this paper?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Councilwoman. My name is Matt Percival. I am a school board representative from the 1st District, Vice Chair of the Richmond School Board, and Chair of the Finance and Audit Committee. First of all, we'd like to say thank you on behalf of the board and the administration. Thank you for considering this option. We look forward to working in collaboration to get to the heart of the issues of the budget. And we also are in favor of a predictable and equitable solution to the budget process. So thank you.
Madam Clerk, any other persons present?
Madam Chair, seeing none, public hearing is now closed and back to the committee.
All right. I didn't know if we had a sneaky school board member who got on virtually, but no, but thank you so
No
much
one's
for
on virtually.
thank you so much for coming in person. It's been wonderful to work with you all as always, and really, really looking forward to the collaboration on this paper. And with that, that's a nice little segue slash update to a conversation that we had related to this paper, but in a bigger picture that we had in this committee during our last committee meeting, and committee members voted to hold and take to our school board members and members of the administration to have a joint meeting, likely in August or maybe September, where we can discuss this funding formula concept as well as other, really relevant and important topics that are near and dear to all of our hearts. So this amendment actually works out really well because that puts us right. That'll actually allow us to have that conversation and then vote on that or present that recommendation to the full body. So Megan didn't know it, but she actually really, helped us with the timing of all that. In any case, motion to move forward with approval to full body.
Can I get a
Second.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
The committee is voting on the motion to forward item 3, resolution 2025-R023 to council with a recommendation to approve with amendment. Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Chair Lynch?
Aye.
That motion has been approved.
All right, now we have our staff report. Our superintendent does usually give the report. If anybody from any of our school board or RPS colleagues want to step in his place, you're more than welcome to give an update. We do usually reserve a spot for him, but he is taking a much and well-needed little R&R. So, hello.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Sharina Chang, Chief of Staff with RPS. I just was sharing some highlights. We wrapped up graduations the end of May, and we are in summer school. So super excited to have that moving forward starting this week. We also are having a bridge program. This will be for our rising 5th grade students, so they are able to go and have like an experience in the middle school, and then also for our rising 9th grade students, so they have that experience in high school. We also are having a staggered start this year for our 9th grade students and our 6th grade students, so they're able to get in the buildings a day early, have themselves get situated before the rest of the school starts, so they have that a softer start to that. So,
Well, we appreciate you so much.
Thank
We
you.
love you so much. And we are again very excited to do some work with you this summer and put together a collaborative. So thank you. Thanks for
yes.
for
And
coming.
also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the city for the support with around the water crisis time. So thank you again for that. We really appreciate the partnership with Amy and her team. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, with that, staff report. Will, what you got for us?
Thank you, Chair Lynch. I would like to read out to you some action items I recorded in this conversation just to make sure we're all on the same page there. So from Ms. Jones, I know we'll be following up with TRHN on some information on the locations of their work. And for Ms. Lynch, we'll work to arrange the details for the convening with RPS at some point over the next few months. So thank you. And then I'll just mention your next meeting for this committee is in July, Thursday, July 10th. From there, you're scheduled to hear from DCAO Popovich about an update from the March Homeless Services Stakeholder Meeting, as well as Homeward and the GRCOC on regional cooperation and case management, as well as Director Frauke from the Parks Department on an update for their master plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. And now we'll do approval of the minutes.
The minutes to be approved are for May 8th, 2025 for the Education and Human Services Standing Committee meeting held at 2 p.m. If there are no amendments or corrections, then the meetings stand approved as presented. Those minutes have been approved. Thank you.
All right, and with no further business, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much.